Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is February 17th, 2026. The All-Star festivities are officially in the rearview mirror. Players are heading back to their markets.
Yeah.
And, you know, if you're looking at the NBA standings right now and thinking, wait a minute, when did everything get this chaotic? Trust me, you are not alone.
It's definitely not the league we started watching in October. It feels like the script has been completely flipped.
It really does. And look, we know our listeners. You're busy. You might catch a highlight or check a box score, but you don't have 4 hours a day to listen to sports radio to figure out why Lonzo Ball is ranting on a podcast or why Adam Silver looks like he's ready to start suspending entire franchises.
Right.
So our mission today is simple. We've gone through the reports, the analytics, the insider notes to connect the dots on the 5 biggest storylines that are going to define this push to the playoffs.
And if there is a theme today, honestly, it's about this collision between business and feelings, whether it's how teams lose, how they treat aging legends, or how players get paid. The old rules of loyalty are just, they're gone.
Yeah, the gentleman's agreement seems to be dead.
Okay.
So here's the roadmap. We have to start with Commissioner Adam Silver declaring war on tanking. Then we're going to look at the imminent return of Jayson Tatum to the Celtics and the weird chemistry experiments happening in Boston. We'll pivot west to the writing on the wall for LeBron James in Los Angeles, now that it's Luka's team.
Oh, yeah.
We've got drama in Cleveland with the Lonzo Ball trade fallout. And finally, Jaylen Brunson sending a very, very expensive invoice to the New York Knicks.
It's a packed slate.
Let's jump right in with the commissioner. Adam Silver held his annual post-All-Star press conference. And usually these things are, snooze fests, a lot of corporate speak.
Yeah.
But this time, he came out swinging on tanking. He explicitly said it's worse now than it has ever been.
She did. And what stood out to me wasn't just that he was angry, but the specific legal standard he brought up. Remember, Silver's a lawyer. He actually invoked a famous Supreme Court standard on obscenity to describe how he's going to police teams losing on purpose.
Wait.
He said he's going to use the I know it when I see it standard.
Hold on. I know it when I see it. That's the official policy now. For a multi-billion-dollar organization, that sounds incredibly vague. Can he actually find someone based on, vibes?
It sounds wild, doesn't it? But here's why he's doing it. He is abandoning the data-driven approach because the teams figured out how to game the data. If the league says you can't rest healthy players, the teams just hire doctors to say.
Oh, he has lower back soreness.
Exactly. Or hamstring tightness. You can't disprove soreness. So Silver's saying, I'm done reading the medical reports. I'm just going to watch the games.
Okay, so if the medical reports are out, what does modern tanking actually look like on the court? Because it's not just putting 5 guys out there who can't play.
Well, no, that's the old way, the process Sixers way.
Yeah.
The sources we looked at describe something much more cynical. It's creative losing.
Creative losing.
Yeah. Teams will play their starters for 3 quarters. They'll keep the game close, sell popcorn, keep the fans engaged. And then, mysteriously, in the 4th quarter, the stars sit. The rotation gets weird. And they lose by 6 points.
So they're intentionally throwing the game in the final minutes.
Exactly. It saves face, but it secures the loss.
Yeah.
The sources mentioned the Utah Jazz and Indiana Pacers have already been fined for this specific behavior. And there was a really specific example with the Jazz and Jaren Jackson Jr.
Right, I saw that. The league came down on them for shutting him down.
Well, Silver tried to. He got suspicious because Utah shut Jaren Jackson Jr. down for the season. But, and this is the cat and mouse game, it turned out Jackson actually did need surgery.
Oh.
So Silver had to back off. But it just shows you how paranoid the league office is right now.
But zoom out for a second. Why are they doing this? I get the draft picks, but is it really worth the embarrassment?
Think of it this way. Imagine you work in sales, and your boss tells you, if you have the worst sales numbers in the entire company this year, we will give you a $10 million bonus. What do?
I'm going to stop selling immediately.
Exactly. Economists have been screaming at the NBA about this for years. The incentives are backwards. Failure is rewarded with the most valuable assets, like a top draft pick. Silver hinted that the current fines just aren't working. A $100,000 fine is pocket change if it gets you a franchise savior.
So he's hinting at radical fixes.
He is. We don't know what that looks like yet. Maybe a relegation system, maybe a wheel draft. But he knows the product suffers when a third of the league is trying to lose.
Speaking of teams that are definitely trying to win,
Yeah.
Let's go to the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics. They're the number 2 seed, which is impressive considering they've been without their best player. But the news is official. Jayson Tatum is ramping up.
Yeah, the timeline is becoming very clear. Sources indicate he's targeting an early March return. The date circled is March 1st against Philadelphia. And here's a little inside baseball clue for you. That game just got flexed to NBC.
And for the casual fan, what does flexed to NBC really imply?
It means the networks talk to the league. NBC isn't going to bump their primetime lineup for a blowout or a game with bench players. They got the signal. Tatum is playing. That's a ratings move.
Okay, but there was another signal that was a little less corporate. Tatum released a trailer, like a literal movie trailer for a documentary about his rehab.
I saw that, yeah.
Isn't that a little much? I mean, I get it, he's a star, but dropping a cinematic trailer before you've played a single minute, it feels like putting a target on your back.
It is a pure Hollywood move. Very brand building.
Yeah.
But it also signals confidence. You don't drop the hype video if the ankle is still swelling up. However, we need to be the buzzkill here for a second and separate the marketing from the medicine.
Right, because you found some data from the Sloan Sports Analytics Conference on Achilles injuries, and it's not exactly he comes back and drops 30 points immediately.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
Studies out of Stanford presented at Sloan show that in the first 18 months after an Achilles return, a player's effective field goal percentage, that's a stat that accounts for threes being worth more, it drops by about 4%.
4%? That doesn't sound like a massive number to the naked eye. Why is that significant?
In the NBA, 4% is the difference between an all-star and a rotation player, but it's why it drops that matters. The Achilles is your spring. It's your lift. When that's compromised, you lose that split-second explosiveness on your first step.
Oh, okay.
So instead of blowing by a defender for a layup, you settle for a contested mid-range jumper. It just changes the geometry of the offense.
So if he's losing that explosiveness, how do the Celtics manage him? They can't just throw him into the fire.
No, and they won't. Expect a strict minutes restriction, probably 20 minutes a night to start. And crucially, the reporting suggests he will likely come off the bench for the first week or two.
Jayson Tatum. Coming off the bench, that is going to look bizarre.
It is, but they have to protect the starting unit's rhythm. They can't just halt the offense to let Tatum figure his legs out.
But even off the bench, his presence changes everything for the guys already there. We have a clear list of winners and losers, and the biggest winner is a guy I still sometimes forget is on the team, Nikola Vucevic.
And you know, it still looks weird seeing him in Celtics green, doesn't it? But yes, Vucevic is the big winner here. Remember, the Celtics moved on from Horford and Porzingis to center the offense around his skill set.
Why does Tatum coming back help a center like Vucevic so much?
Gravity. When Tatum is on the floor, even at 80%, the defense is terrified of him. They collapse. They double team. That leaves Vucevic alone on the perimeter for that pick-and-pop jumper. He's going to get wider open shots than he has all season.
Okay, so Vucevic eats. Who else?
Yeah. Sam Hauser. He likely cements a starting role because he's a perfect spacer. And Derek White. He's been trying to carry the scoring load, which isn't his natural game. He gets to slide back into being a secondary creator, which is where he thrives.
But with winners, there have to be losers. Who gets squeezed?
The young guys. Jordan Walsh and Baylor Shireman. They've played meaningful minutes they've been developing, but in a playoff push, those minutes just evaporate the second Tatum steps on the floor.
Here's the psychological angle I want to ask about, though. Jaylen Brown. He has been the #1 option all year. He was a finals MVP. He has led this team to the #2 seed without Tatum. Now, he has to slide back. I know players say, I just want to win, but ego is a real thing.
That is the multi-million-dollar question. Brown has said all the right things about sacrificing, but saying it in a press conference is easy. Doing it in the fourth quarter when you haven't touched the ball in 3 possessions because they're trying to get Tatum going, that's hard. It's human nature. He's flourished as Batman, going back with Robin. Especially if Batman is a step slow, that can cause friction.
Turbulence seems to be the word for Boston. Title favorites on paper, but reintegration is messy.
It is. And in the East, a 2-week stumble while you're figuring out the rotation could drop you from the 2 seed to the 4 seed.
From a team trying to integrate a star to a team that seems to be actively pushing one out the door, let's go to Los Angeles, the LeBron James era. Are we finally at the end credits?
It feels like it. And it's not just speculation anymore. The interview Jeannie Buss gave to CNBC was honestly shocking in how blunt it was.
She didn't exactly hide her cards. She explicitly said the Lakers are pivoting to build around Luka Dončić.
Which, to be fair, we know. Luka is a Laker. He is the future. But it's the way she talked about LeBron. She kept emphasizing stability. And when they asked her about LeBron, who is 41 years old now, she said he has earned the right to decide his future.
Earn the right. In corporate speak, that's usually a polite way of saying, here's the door, we won't lock it.
Precisely. And she followed it up with never say never about his return. In PR terms, never say never is a polite dismissal. But the context here is vital. We have to remember how Luka got there. The sources confirm the trade for Luka happened under the cover of night.
Meaning they didn't tell LeBron.
They didn't consult LeBron. They didn't consult Rich Paul. That was the signal. That was the moment the Lakers said, we are out of the LeBron James business.
That is a massive shift. So if he's gone and the Lakers are committed to Luka, where does the 41-year-old LeBron James even go?
Well, he has a $52.6 million player option. He could just opt in and force him to pay him. But the rumors are rampant, everywhere, about a retirement tour reunion with the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Going home to Cleveland one last time, that feels almost too poetic.
It does, but it makes sense. And strategically for the Lakers, if he walks, they open up about $50 million in cap space.
So did they go hunting for another superstar to pair with Luka?
Actually, no. The reporting suggests a strategic pivot. They aren't looking for another aging star on a max deal. They are targeting restricted free agents that fit Luka's timeline. Young, athletic, defensive guys. Names like Tari Eason and Peyton Watson have been dropped.
That makes total sense. Luka needs defenders, not another ball-dominant 40-year-old. It's brutal, but it's smart business.
It is. It's the difference between selling tickets for a legacy tour and building a team that can win for the next 5 years.
Now, you mentioned Cleveland as a landing spot for LeBron, but Cleveland has its own soap opera going on right now. Let's talk about Lonzo Ball.
Yeah, this was a tough read. Lonzo, who was on the Cavs, went on his podcast and basically unloaded. He called himself a scapegoat after being traded to the Jazz and then immediately waved.
He sounded really hurt. He feels like they pinned the team struggles on him. But was he a scapegoat or was he just playing bad?
You have to look at the numbers. The Cavs started 22-19. That is massively underperforming. And Lonzo, he was shooting 30% from the field and 27% from three.
Oof, 30% from the field. That is hard to defend. You can't be a starter in the NBA shooting 30%.
You can't. And the advanced stats backed it up. The team's offensive rating just plummeted when he was on the floor. So while he feels blamed, the performance context is undeniable. But look at what happened after he left. This wasn't just dumping Lonzo. This was a massive gamble.
Right. The Cavs didn't just waive Lonzo. They traded Darius Garland, their franchise point guard, to the Clippers to get James Harden.
That is the headline. They traded youth and stability for high-end talent. And look at the immediate results. The Cavs are now number 4 in the East at 34-21. They've won 3 straight since Harden arrived.
So bringing in James Harden, who is historically, let's say, volatile, actually stabilized the team.
It seems to have. And if we connect this to NBA history, there's a really interesting parallel here. Think about the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Mid-season, they traded for Rasheed Wallace.
The Sheed era.
Right. Rasheed was a massive talent, but a volatile personality. People thought it was risky. But he was the missing piece that pushed a good defensive team over the top to win a title.
So the theory is, James Harden is the Rasheed Wallace of 2026.
That's the bet Cleveland is making. They needed that high-end offensive creation that Garland wasn't providing consistently, and they were willing to sacrifice their depth to get it. If Harden is engaged, Cleveland becomes a very dangerous dark horse.
And imagine if LeBron joins that team next year.
Harden, Mitchell, Mobley, and LeBron. That sounds like a customized 2K team.
It really does. But it all hinges on Harden staying happy.
Which is never a guarantee.
All right, let's head to New York for our final segment. Jaylen Brunson. The man is the king of New York. 3 straight playoff appearances, averaging 27 a game. He's beloved. But he gave an interview to Vanity Fair that sounded a lot less like a celebration and a lot more like a threat.
Well, this was absolutely a negotiation tactic disguised as a magazine profile. He told the interviewer he hopes the Knicks do right by me on his next contract because he feels he sacrificed.
Yeah. And to be fair, he literally did sacrifice right. I remember when he signed that deal, everyone was shocked at the number.
He left a fortune on the table. He signed a 4-year, $156.5 million deal. That was roughly $113.5 million less than his max potential at the time.
$113 million. I love my job, but I'm not leaving $113 million on the table for the good of the podcast.
Few people on earth would. But he did it to give the Knicks cap flexibility to build this roster, to get the pieces like Mikal Bridges and Anunoby that have them sitting at 3rd in the East right now.
Okay, so he took the discount, but now the bill's coming due.
It is. He is eligible for a 5-year, $417.8 million extension in 2 years. And this interview is him signaling the discount era is over. I did my part. Now you're going to pay me.
So what does this mean for the Knicks? They've built this amazing team because he was cheap, relatively speaking. Can they afford a $400 million player and keep the squad?
It puts massive pressure on the front office. They have a 2-year window here before that massive cap hit kicks in. Brunson is saying, I played like a superstar, I took a discount like a role player, and now I want to be paid like a Tier 1 icon. If the Knicks balk or try to ask for another discount, things could get ugly very fast.
It really feels like the theme of 2026 is show me the money or show me the door.
It does. The sentimentality is gone.
So let's try to tie this all together. We have Adam Silver using the eye tests to find tankers because the data is broken. We have the Celtics bringing back Jayson Tatum, hoping his chemistry with Vucevic holds up. We have the Lakers effectively telling LeBron it's been real to build around Luka. Cleveland is betting the house on James Harden. And Jaylen Brunson is reminding New York that loyalty has a very specific price tag.
It's a fascinating snapshot.
Yeah.
And if you step back, I want you, the listener, to think about this concept of loyalty versus business. We love to talk about team loyalty from the fan perspective. We want players to stay, to take discounts, to bleed for the city.
Right, we buy the jerseys. We want them to care as much as we do.
Exactly. But look at these stories. LeBron delivered a title to LA, but they are gently pushing him out for the younger model in Luka because it makes business sense. Lonzo Ball feels used and discarded by Cleveland. Jaylen Brunson was loyal financially, and now he has to publicly demand repayment because he knows the team won't just give it to him out of kindness.
It really makes you question if loyalty is actually a liability for a player in 2026.
It certainly looks that way. The smart move seems to be looking out for number one because the franchises are definitely looking out for their bottom line.
Something to chew on as you watch the games this week. Keep a close eye on that Boston rotation. The turbulence there might just decide who raises the trophy in June. And watch out for Adam Silver. He's watching. Thanks for listening to The Deep Dive. We'll catch you next time.